Alright, I think I finally got it running. Okay, let's just check on things here. Yep. Space TV is in the chat, but I think he's in the wrong chat. So, hello everyone. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. In fact, this may be the only time I do this. And unfortunately, it looks like we've got a bit of a mix-up because the event got duplicated somehow. And I'm not sure if it's really what's really going on here. Ugh. It looks like the stream might be set to occur in two different places, and I'm afraid people are going to be stuck in the wrong place. So I'm just trying to check on that and make sure everyone is able to see the live stream properly. And I'm not sure they are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's somehow goofed up. So I'm gonna drop a link to the correct link. So hopefully that brings anyone over who was waiting on the live webcast on the old link, which is not working. All right, and now I'm going to try something fancy here and try to pop out so I can monitor the chat while I'm in game. So I am currently on the Oculus Rift, which is why you are seeing the inside of a fictional spaceship right now. Now, normally, of course, on this channel we do live webcasts with real astronomy, but tonight we're doing something a little bit different. So tonight is a charity stream, which will be for the Starlight Children's Foundation. So the money, any money donated, will go directly to the foundation, not me. The link can be found in the video description, and I'm going to be streaming throughout the night and giving you guys the opportunity to do something that perhaps some of you have been wanting to do for a long time, and that's blow me into space, blow me sky high, destroy my ship, and kill me. I am going to log into the open server here, if it will let me. I have got the focus on the wrong window. Now it should let me. Okay, cool. So I'm going to log into open, and that way anyone who sees my current location in game from the stream can come blow this feeble little adder spaceship out of space. I'll be running without any weapons at all, So if anyone interdicts me and attacks my little ship, I'll be blown into space. So this is a live stream from Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is a space simulator featuring the real Milky Way galaxy, at least in spirit, I guess you could say. They've imported real stellar databases into the game to create the Milky Way galaxy, and the rest of it is basically created using a procedural algorithm that creates stars based on basically the density distribution of our galaxy. So in the arms of the galaxy, you'll find more massive stars, and in between the arms, you'll find little brown dwarfs and stars that you can't really scoop fuel from. So in this game, you can travel between the stars and explore space, pirate, go search alien ruins, or even active alien sites. So it's quite a fun little game. I'm sure many of the people who are currently watching have also subscribed to Scott Manley's channel and other streamers who frequently stream from Elite Dangerous, but this is my first time doing a live stream from Elite Dangerous, and might end up being the last time as well. I don't know. So let me know in the comments if you guys enjoy this kind of streaming, or if you just would like me to stick more to telescope stuff. Now, unfortunately, tonight I couldn't stream from the telescope, so we're doing this instead. And giving anyone who has the game the chance to come find me and interact with me live in the stream, which pretty much means intercepting my spaceship and blowing me up. Now, as a reward in-game for that, I will be carrying some high-value cargo, which you can steal from me. I'm not carrying it at the moment, but I will be in a few minutes. And, yeah. So, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, the plan will go quite badly for me. At least that's the point. So, 1 second here. I am just going to see if I can also bring up... Ah, here we go. Yep. Excellent. I'm just bringing up another window and pinning it to my game so I can actually see the streaming situation while I'm in game and make sure the stream is still working properly. So I am currently on the Oculus Rift, which is a virtual reality headset, and it has the new feature of being able to pin windows inside the game. You guys can't see it, but I can, so I can look at the chat and I can look at the stream condition while I'm flying around, which is quite handy, especially when you're trying to live stream, because it makes it easier to keep an eye on things than with just a normal monitor setup, because I can just look over and see things, and even though you guys can't see it, I can see it, so that's quite handy. So I'm just going to outfit my little spaceship here with a fuel scoop if I can. There are limited facilities at this starport. Shield generator? Who needs shield generators? Not us. Fuel scoops. I do need a fuel scoop. Get the best fuel scoop I possibly can. Let's see. Yeah, this is the best one I can. Alright. So, let's plot a course. So we're going to fly to a procedurally generated star, I believe. No, wait. I'm wrong about that. It's actually this star. This is actually from a real stellar database that has been brought into the game. And there's some interesting cargo to be found on a planet in that system. So, this little ship without shields, without weapons, is going to go out there and collect it. And I am on the open server, so wherever you see me, on that little window right there, you can fly to my location if you have the game and attack me if you want. So somebody let me in the chat, let me know if you can hear the game. You should be able to. You should definitely be able to hear the game audio. And if you heard it just now, My whole integrity was already compromised the instant I reached the landing pad, because this is a high G world at over 4 Gs. It's quite intense. So just the mere fact that I was lifted up to the landing pad apparently structurally damaged the vehicle. So I may not last long, even just due to environmental factors. This is a pretty weak little ship here, even when it does have shields and weapons, which it does not at the moment. It's almost a starter ship. It is quite cool in VR, though. Even the little ships are quite fun to see. So I do recommend the Oculus or HTC Vive. So you got the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive is sort of the two main VR headsets. There's also now the Microsoft headsets. I haven't tried those out, but I hear they can be pretty good too. And yeah, it's quite a different experience than playing on a regular monitor. So right now we have to fly. Oh, I see another commander. Ooh, he's in a Federal assault ship. He could blow me right out of the sky. And he vanished. He dropped out of warp there. So, for those who don't know, the scanner here shows you where various objects are, stars, other ships. If you see a rectangle that's filled, that's a non-player character. That's just a computer character. If you see an open rectangle, that is a human, another player who's visible in the same location. So let's see if we can go ahead and warp out to the first destination. Where are we going here? So we're going to warp to the next star and see if we can make it to collect the expensive and illegal, I should point out, illegal cargo in most systems. And then from there, I will start a long and treacherous journey towards the inhabited systems. This system is inhabited, but there's what they call the bubble in the game surrounding our solar system, where most of the stations are located, where most of the players are going to be found. And I'm going to head over there and just make myself a nice big fat target. And maybe along the way we'll try to stop at some real stars and real points of interest to the extent that we can. This little dinky ship can't travel very far on a single jump, so if I get the chance at some point, I will try to upgrade the engines so we can go further and visit more places of interest. Can't hear the gaming audio. Okay, well, let me see if I can fix that. That is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can just point the right direction. Alright, I'm gonna fly off that way for a moment while I try to adjust the audio input sources. Let's see. This was working earlier. Okay, how about now? Any luck? Maybe not. Probably not. Oh, I wonder if that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So you guys should hear it now. Just let me know in the chat. Yeah, you should be able to see the game. Can you not see the game? Great Grump says, should we be able to see the game? You should definitely be able to see the game. according to what I'm seeing on my end, you're seeing the game. You're seeing a chair that I'm looking at right now. You guys don't see that? Let me know. If there's some other bigger issue, maybe I need to resolve. Yep, okay. Duplicate says, yep. Great Grum says, okay, sounds on. Great. So we are in business. Good to know. Thanks. So, fun little fact about this game. I really enjoy this part of it. The stars that you can scoop off of. So you can scoop for fuel and refuel your spaceship off of stars by flying very close to them. But you can only grab fuel... You can only grab fuel from stars that are on the main sequence. And there's a handy mnemonic for remembering the main sequence stars, the stellar classifications, the spectral classifications of stars that are on the main sequence. And the mnemonic is, "Oh, be a fine girl, kiss me. O-B-A-F-G-K and M." So if you see a star on that spectral class, on any of those classes, you can scoop fuel off of it, as I just did, by flying close to it without managing to overheat the spaceship. So the next star is an M class, a red dwarf. And that's another star we can scoop. But if you run into something like a white dwarf, or a Titari star, something like that, or a brown dwarf, you can't scoop it. So let me know, guys, if the audio is too loud. Space TV says he can see and hear the game. Great Grum says he cannot see the game. Oh, it might be because he's on phone. Yeah, that could be. It could be that the phones aren't able to stream properly. But others are reporting that they're able to see and hear it, so I'm guessing it's not on my end then. It could be the way that YouTube is encoding it. So we finally have our destination star coming up. And this is from the Hipparcos catalog, 17125. So Hipparcos was a satellite launched by, I believe, the European Space Agency. And it was an astrometry mission. Its mission was to catalog the very precise positions and motions of stars from space. And those stars went into a catalog called Hipparcos. And so that very real catalog has actually been imported into the game to create some of the stars featured in the game, including this one. And there happens to be a planet which has a moon, which has a very interesting little spot that you can visit. And we're going to go visit that spot now. So, looks like this is a binary system, but around the primary star's third planet and its first moon is a point of interest. A crashed alien spaceship in the game. And this was discovered by a player, and my understanding it was discovered quite by accident due to a glitch with the game. Another point of interest was scanned within the system, and due to a glitch, it revealed all the points of interest within the system, including this one. So it was discovered perhaps a little earlier than it should have been. But it also happens to be a source of valuable material in the game. And I'm going to collect some of that material and then fly back away from my current location. This star is actually very close to, or within, the Pleiades. So the open cluster of the Pleiades is where this is located, and this happens to be the site of a lot of interest in the game right now, because this happens to be where the game's primary alien race is located, called the Thargoids. And you can find them around here. In fact, that signal source right there is probably a Thargoid ship. And they are a very dangerous ship in the game. Smaller ships like this one don't stand a chance. If you're attacked by them, you're pretty much toast. Larger ships can put up a fight, though, and some of the players have been blowing them up. Anyway, there happens to be a crashed alien ship on this planet, and you can collect the materials. And in the primary systems in the game around Earth and around our solar system, it's worth quite a bit of money. So I'm going to grab it and then fly back that way, where most players are probably located right now. And if anyone watching the stream wants to, they can attack me and take it for themselves. Normally you wouldn't find these materials close to what they call the bubble, or in the bubble rather. The inhabited systems around our solar system. Ooh, coming in a little hot there. Gonna have to shoot past our intended target and then circle back to it. This is like the sloppiest landing I've ever had, but we'll get there. So, this game is called Elite Dangerous, for those of you just joining us. It's a spaceflight simulator featuring a life-sized Milky Way galaxy, and stars that are based on real stellar catalogs, for the most part. I keep blacking out my character, which is why the turn stops and then the screen fades. There we go. So normally, if you're playing this game and flying to this location the first time, you will not see a crash site marker located there. You have to get that by scanning the ship, which is a bit of a trick I'll show you. You have to just find it by the coordinates. There's websites that cover the various points of interest in the game. Canon Research is one of the major ones. And they give you the coordinates, the latitude and longitude. The latitude and longitude you can see there just underneath my altitude marker on the right side of the HUD. Negative 65.8, positive 48.8 are latitude and longitude of this location. Gotta be a little careful here. I'm not used to flying this ship, actually. And it accelerates pretty fast. I want to crash it. Alright. So now we're going to get out in the rover.
Drive assist.
So there's our little ship. The name, Astro's Folly. Felt that was appropriate for tonight. So we're going to grab that. that. Oops. Wrong way. So, tonight we're collecting these materials and we're going to fly them back to the solar system for people to grab. But the real reason we're doing all of this is to raise money for the Starlight Children's Foundation. The Starlight Children's Foundation helps kids who are sick in the hospital. And I was once a kid who was sick in the hospital near Christmas time myself. And in the second grade, I had a pretty severe case of pneumonia. And I still remember the guy who came in as a Santa Claus for the kids who were in the hospital that time. And, you know, provided some much-needed joy in the middle of a pretty bad experience. So the Starlight Children's Foundation provides those kinds of experiences for kids in the hospital. They recently had a Star Wars event here in Florida at the Orlando, Florida hospital. They put on a VR event featuring Star Wars for the kids there. And they do many different events like that around the country to help kids who are in the hospital. So we're raising money for them, and you can find the link in the video description. So if you can, please give even $1, you know, to the charity, and hopefully we can raise some money for those kids in the hospital this time of year, which is not a good time of year, not a fun time of year to be in the hospital if you're a kid. And I know because I've been there. Now, of course, pneumonia is bad, but you know, a lot of kids have it even worse than that, so that's why we're doing this. A couple years ago, you may have seen my light bucket challenge. We raised about $400–500 for the Choroideremia Research Foundation. And this year, we're raising money for the Starlight Children's Foundation. And I'm hoping we can raise a similar amount of money. So you can find that link in the video description. The money goes directly to the charity. It does not go to me. And just to be clear, I do not see a dime of it. That is all going to charity. So thanks for everyone who's able to give and provide some money for the kids. Oops. Oh no! As you can tell, it's a low gravity moon. That cargo is bouncing all over the place. There we go. Alright, I think we got just about all the cargo that can be found here at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and take off with this. Well, actually, before I do that, if anyone who is watching has the game and would like to come out here, and you haven't come out here before, let me just show you how you can scan this ship to get the waypoint for future visits, because it is quite handy to be able to grab this cargo. there's a mission in the game called the Palin mission, which will pay quite handsomely for it as well. But coming back to those coordinates can be tricky if you're just trying to go off the numbers. It's a much nicer thing to have the waypoint available. So let me show you how to do that. You have to fly your rover up here carefully. Yeah, that's not really what I had in mind. Okay, let me try that one more time. You have to ramp it up to the spaceship here. Perfect. Alright. So then you want to hang your nose over the side like that. And then activate the turret. And around here somewhere, there should be a waypoint. Don't know why I'm not seeing it. Might not have pointed my nose in the right location, but that's the general idea. You want to get your nose up there. And then hang over the edge. And then you should see a scout ship marker pop up, and you want to scan that, and that'll give you the waypoint. Okay, so we'll board the ship. Let me know in the chat if if my audio is loud enough, or if the game audio is overpowering me. Let me know if the game audio is too loud, and I'll turn it down. All right. Now for the fun part. We get to go back to the inhabited systems. Let's see. I'm just going to plot a course towards Earth. How many jumps is that going to be? 57. We'll be here a while, but that's the point. All right. Sound and video is great. Alright, good to know. And Space TV just donated. Thank you, and thank you very much for your generosity. So, one of the interesting things here is not only am I facing the possible threat of another player intercepting me and killing me, but also just trying to get out of alien-controlled space is going to be interesting. The Pleiades is pretty heavily swarmed by these alien Thargoid ships, and if they find me with parts of their spacecraft, they're not going to be happy. That is to say, they'll probably kill me on sight. And in this little dinky ship, you can't go very far each jump, so that increases the number of times you have to jump. And each time you jump, there's a risk that you'll be intercepted by the aliens. And if they scan you and find parts of their ship on your ship, they'll kill you. Pretty much. So this could turn into an exercise in futility very quickly. We'll see. So now we're jumping to just sort of a random generated star. Whenever you see Pleiades, sector, and a string of numbers and letters like this, it's a star that's been generated procedurally in the creation of the game. And as we go, we have to be mindful of our fuel levels. You can see the fuel gauge there on the right. You can end up in a string of stars that you're unable to get fuel from, and if you do that long enough, eventually you could run out of fuel. And that's where the fuel rats come in. So there's a player group called the Fuel Rats, and they make it their mission to refuel players who are stranded in space. There was an article on some of the game-related websites, game media, that they just rescued a player in this game who was stranded outside of the Milky Way, sort of at the fringes of where you can reach. And this player got out there and then ran out of fuel. And these guys actually voluntarily went out there and refueled him, or I think it was brought her back from being stranded at the furthest point you can reach in the game, essentially. And you know, it's not like there's any kind of reward in the game for doing that, per se. It's just something these guys do voluntarily because they enjoy it. And, you know, to cross from one end of the Milky Way in this game to the other, it takes days. You know, it's not an easy sort of thing, even in a relatively quick ship. So here's an example of a star that I'm unable to scoop. It looks like an L dwarf or something. I didn't happen to catch what the spectral class was when I jumped. But it's a dwarf star that I'm not able to scoop fuel from. Now the next star is an M-class star, so that's on the main sequence. Oh, be a fine girl, kiss me. That's the basically on the lowest mass end of the main sequence. But because red dwarfs burn their fuel, their fusion fuel in their atmosphere so slowly in their cores, they actually are the longest lived stars. They burn very, very slowly. So even though they're much lower mass than our sun, they can live much longer than even our sun can live. And as a result, they're some of the most abundant stars in our galaxy. Much more abundant than high-mass stars. Because they live for so long. And you will actually see this reflected in the game, because the program that they created for procedurally generating the galaxy actually counts for the real proportions of stars as far as we can currently tell. And as a result of that, you'll run across a lot of red dwarfs. A lot more of those than you will O, B, and F class stars, some of the high mass stars in the galaxy.
Frameshift drive charging.
So yeah, you can see the goods that I'm carrying carry a value of about 500,000 credits each. And I've got 6 of those, so about 3 million credits of materials here. Which is not bad considering how easy it would be to actually kill me and take it.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Let's see. So Space TV asks when I'm running the game on. This is on a GTX 1070 graphics card and a Core i7 processor. And I'm currently playing in the Oculus Rift.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two,
So we've got another dwarf star. Can't scoop that one for fuel.
Frameshift drive charging.
But the next star is a red dwarf that we can scoop.
Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Now, normally it wouldn't take nearly this many jumps to get from one place to another, but in this sort of starter ship, it doesn't jump all that fast.
Four, three, two,
Some of the other ships have drives that are able to jump you a lot further per jump, so it doesn't take nearly as many stops to get where you're going. but due to the massive size of the Milky Way galaxy, even the fastest ship can take many hours to get you from one particular point of interest to another outside of the inhabited systems. The bubble of inhabited systems is fairly small, so it doesn't take very long to cross it, but if you want to go out to, say, the Orion Nebula, because it sounds interesting, it's something you've seen in your telescope, it could take a while. It could take hours to reach, depending on how far you can jump at a time. If you want to go out, 1,500 light years, say, and you can only jump 10 light years at a time, well, that's going to be 150 jumps. So, Space TV asks what my top 5 space games are of all time. Well, number 1, I have to go with Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. I just love that. I guess you could call it a game. And on my last live stream, we used that to take a look at whether you could potentially reach an interstellar object using a rocket like SLS. So you can simulate real rockets in that program. You can simulate Apollo missions all the way up to shuttle and beyond. And so it's sort of a tool as much as it is a game. Number 2, I guess, would have to be this one. I don't know, I really do enjoy Elite Dangerous because it lets you explore a life-size Milky Way galaxy. I think in terms of fictional space games, it's probably the most immersive in that sense. Other games may have more realistic physics or perhaps more varied sights, but at least this one does let you explore stars that you can actually see in the night sky, even obscure ones. Some others that I do enjoy, Kerbal Space Program, similar to Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, but with more game aspects to it. So it's a spaceflight simulator where you can build rockets, launch them, manage your little Kerbals, little alien astronauts, if you will, that look a bit like green minions. And like I said, it has a little more of a game aspect to it, in that you can build your ships and set up a career mode where basically you have to, monitor resources and things like that. With Orbiter, it's just a pure simulator. There's no real game aspects per se. But with Kerbal, there's definitely a game to it, and it makes it quite fun. Let's see, other than that, you have another one that's come out. Oops, oh boy, we've got somebody intercepting us. And it's an enemy computer player, so I'm going to try to escape his interdiction. Ah. Looks like our hyperdrive got us out of that one. I was already starting to warp to the next system when he intercepted me. So I was able to break free of it simply by waiting it out, essentially. And, well, there's a bit of randomness to that as well. With the interceptions, it doesn't let you control the direction you're really going. You're trying to get away from it, but it tells you the direction you have to travel to get away from the ship who's trying to intercept you. If that direction happens to line up with your next destination, and you were already in the process of starting a warp, it's possible you could break free just by lining that up. So, a bit lucky, but yeah. Don't really want to be blown up by the computer. I'd much rather be intercepted by another player. So let's see, some other interesting space-related games. You have From Other Suns recently came out for Oculus, and it's basically what they call an FTL-like game. It has FTL aspects. FTL is sort of a spaceship management game, and you have some aspects of that. You basically have a Star Trek-like experience. You beam from your ship onto other stations and ships, and you're trying to get to Earth, and, you know, hilarity ensues. It's a multiplayer game, so you can play with your friends or play with other random people online. It's got some interesting aspects to it. And then other than that, let's see. Oh, I know what should definitely get a mention here is Mission ISS. Mission ISS. It's a space station simulator for the Oculus Rift. Lets you experience the International Space Station and basically just explore it. You can also you can grapple a SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft. You can do a little EVA, and it really is probably the best way to see the real layout of the space station, at least the American segments. It doesn't simulate the Russian segments as far as I can tell, but it really gives you an appreciation for how the various segments are connected. If you're a space fanatic like I am, you've probably seen a lot of video from the inside of ISS, but even then, if you haven't really explored it in that way, in some sort of physical space or in virtual reality, it can be hard to really comprehend how the station's laid out, which sections are connected to which, and how you navigate through that. But that simulator really lets you see that, and you know, the experience of going into the cupola and looking out the windows and seeing a Dragon capsule out there, it is quite nice for any space fans to see. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend checking that out. Though I do have to say, the the floaty aspect of it can give you some significant motion sickness, so it's best in small doses. This game really doesn't have that, and there's some interesting neuroscience reasons behind that, really. So, motion sickness, particularly in VR, is due to some very particular things. Acceleration is one of the critical factors. If you are viewing a virtual reality experience and your eyes are telling you that you're accelerating but you don't feel it, generally that will give you a very nauseated feeling. But there are some caveats to that. There are ways you can minimize that. One is by reducing the amount of what they call optical flow or pixel flow past your peripheral vision. Your mind isn't perceiving motion through your inner ear, so it turns to other cues, including your peripheral vision and how things appear to be streaming past your peripheral vision. And so one of the ways that certain games and experiences can try to limit the amount of nausea is by restricting your peripheral vision when you start moving. But some of the earlier experiences, like Mission ISS, don't have that feature. As far as I can tell, there's no way to restrict your peripheral vision in that game. So when you're floating around the space station and grabbing handlebars and moving yourself along, you feel like you ought to feel the sensation of acceleration as you start moving and as you stop moving. But your inner ear doesn't feel that, and so that's where the motion sickness can come into play very easily. Games like this, you don't necessarily get that, even though your spaceship is accelerating. I'm doing some hard turns, banking. I don't really feel that at all, although I do in Mission ISS. And one of the reasons for that is you have this cockpit around you, and so it blocks parts of your peripheral vision, and it gives you a different context and a different reference frame. And so your mind understands that you're in a vehicle, and also you're restricting that peripheral vision. And so your mind is relying more on your inner ear, which is telling you you're not moving. And because of the somewhat restrictive nature of the cockpit around you, I find that I don't personally feel motion sickness at all in this game, even though I am susceptible to it in other experiences that let you see without any peripheral restriction. Oh, another square tells me
Fuel scooping.
there's another ship around. It's a computer-controlled ship, not a player character. So I'll just try to evade it,
Scooping complete.
get out of here as quick as we can before he intercepts me. Yep, looks like he's looking for me. But we're out of here.
3, 2, 1.
So yeah, there's certain tricks that some games and experiences try to do to limit motion sickness now. One of those is, like I said, restricting your peripheral vision. Another is to simply omit accelerations. You can still have motion without acceleration. If you have a game or experience that involves moving your character or your vision, but you start moving immediately, there's no acceleration. It's just you're either not moving or you're suddenly moving. Strangely enough, the mind doesn't perceive that as an acceleration. It just sees fixed velocity or no velocity. And whether you realize it or not, your mind understands that that is not the same as acceleration. It doesn't perceive acceleration. And so that can work in the sense that it doesn't produce the same kind of motion sickness you would get if you saw yourself accelerating, a change in velocity over time. If it's instantaneous change, it doesn't perceive it the same way. So that's kind of, to me, that's a really kind of cool trick.
Fuel scooping.
So yeah, Halsoy's in the chat. He says he's yet to experience motion sickness with the Vive, even in games where you can run, like Fallout, even playing it for hours. Now, I haven't tried Fallout, but it's quite possible that they've implemented that kind of trick in Fallout. It's definitely one of the newest experiences. So I'm guessing they probably... Well, I say that. I know with, like, certain games, like from Other Suns, I don't think you can really accelerate in that game. If you push down on the thumbstick to move a direction, you're just moving at a fixed velocity, sort of, as I remember. And Fallout may or may not be the same way. I do get motion sickness though with some experiences. Mission ISS is definitely one that gives me a little queasy. Although I enjoy it immensely, I have to kind of take it in small doses. I can't do it for sustained periods of time.
Fuel scooping.
And some people are just more susceptible to it than others. It just depends. Person to person, there's quite a bit of difference.
Fuel scooping complete. Warning, temperature critical.
Overheating a bit. I don't know if you guys can tell, there's actually smoke entering the cockpit there. If you start overheating completely, your ship will start bursting into flames in the cockpit. Definitely gives you a warning that you're doing some damage. Got another Hipparcos star coming up. This is another star from a real stellar catalog in the game.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, Houseway says they have an option for enabling vignetting when running. Yeah, that definitely would help. So that's a restricting your peripheral vision. That's in Fallout, and that will prevent you from experiencing motion sickness. Google Earth does that as well. Google Earth is another one of those must-see experiences if you ever get a chance to try VR. You can fly around, you know, all the natural and man-made sites you could possibly want to see, and it really is a very different experience to Google Earth on, you know, a 2D screen. Actually seeing, you know, Yellowstone as a 3D model in front of you, it's quite incredible. And it restricts your peripheral vision. I wouldn't really call that one vignetting. It's more of a mesh or wireframe that it starts presenting to you around your peripheral vision, so you don't really see that motion when you start accelerating and start flying. Yeah, Househoy says he doesn't get motion sickness ever in general, so he thinks that helps. Yeah, that probably would help. I wish I was the same way. I'm usually pretty good, but there's some things that really get to me. One of them is actually now Star Tours at Disney World. When I was a kid, I used to be able to ride Star Tours all day long and never feel any motion sickness at all. But when they implemented the 3D version of Star Tours, so now they give you 3D glasses and they send you into the simulator, and the thing pitches and it rolls and it, you know, turns left and right and up and down, and they show you this movie on the screen in front of you, and now it's a 3D movie. And I swear I was sick as a dog the first and only time I tried that. Now, to be fair, it was a completely packed car, and I was in the back right corner of the thing, and so because of the way the 3D screen works, it doesn't quite present the right experience. Because I was off to one side, the way that 3D works, it still seems like it's straight ahead of you, and I don't know, something about that caused it to sort of desync from the way the motion actually felt, and that just, it made me so queasy. It was also pretty warm in there too, with all the people packed in. I don't know, it started to feel a little hot, and that combination of factors, man, I was lucky I held down my lunch that day. Did not ride that again, and would not ride that again. But you know, as a kid, it didn't bother me at all, and I don't know if that was really the 3D thing that they've changed now, or if I'm just getting older and my body's changing. I'm not able to take the same experiences I was able to take before as a kid. But whatever the case, there's certain things I just can't do like I used to. But yeah, I think in general with VR as it is now, most of the experiences as they're designed have comfort features in mind, and it's really not too bad. I can play most games with what they call free locomotion, where you know, on the Oculus, you take your thumbstick and you just move it the direction you want to go, and you start walking that direction. And even without vignetting, just having like fixed velocity motion, that kind of thing, it really works quite well, at least for me. So from other suns, I don't need vignetting. I can just do free locomotion, but at a sort of a fixed velocity. Onward, another sort of first-person game where that's true for me as well. But there's others, like Pulsar Lost Colony, another space game. Looks really interesting, but I tried it briefly, and that made me pretty sick too. And the strange thing was that one did have vignetting available, and I tried that, and I tried it with it off, and didn't really work so well for me. And I think part of the problem was, at the time, maybe it's changed, but at the time it didn't have what they call snap turning available, which is another way of avoiding acceleration. So in VR, most experiences offer you the ability to instantly change direction. So when you turn left or turn right, it's not a smooth turn. It's not a gradual turn of your head. It's instant. Boom. You're gonna now look 20 degrees to the left or 20 degrees to the right, and it's like a instant scene change. And that might sound very jarring, but actually it doesn't feel that way. Yep, got another ship about to intercept us here, so I'm going to try to get out of here quick as I can before this NPC intercepts us. So, yeah, snap turning is really helpful. But this particular game, Pulsar Lost Colony, didn't have that available. And because I don't have a Vive, I have an Oculus, I don't have a 360 setup. It doesn't really track as well when I turn around 180 degrees. So I was trying to use the turn using the thumbstick, and it was doing the smooth turning thing, and oh man, that did not do well with me. It was an acceleration in a you know, rotation sense, and that made me quite ill as well. So yeah, it just depends on how they set it up, but these days most games and experiences have those sorts of comfort features available. So I think the technology is definitely maturing in that sense. Soy says, Universe Sandbox 2 is also amazing in VR. There's something special about holding the Earth in one hand and the Moon in the other, then bashing them into each other. Yeah, that does sound amazing. I'll have to try that sometime. I have the original Universe Sandbox. That's another great sort of simulator. It's sort of the gamey version of Orsa. I use Orsa a lot. Orbit Reconstruction Simulation and Analysis. That's definitely more of a tool than a game. But you can basically do numerical integration on orbits and see how the gravity of the planets affects a given orbit, and how the gravity of the planets affect each other, and all that. A Universe Sandbox is that taken to sort of a graphically beautiful, almost game, where you can load up the solar system and then introduce, you know, a massive brown dwarf and send it through there and see what that would do to the planets. Yeah, it would mess them up over time. You can also do, like what Halsoy said, you can take the moon and ram it into the Earth and see what, you know, massive impacts would do to our planet like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Some educational value there as well.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
So we got a brown dwarf coming up. Won't be able to scoop that one. Speaking of brown dwarfs, so this is a going to be a Y class, a very cool brown dwarf.
3, 2,
I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it's almost like a gas giant. And that's the thing, a brown dwarf is very similar in many respects to a massive gas giant. And in fact, the line starts to get blurred at a certain level when you talk about very low mass brown dwarfs and very high mass planets. So when people say, you can't see Nibiru, it's a brown dwarf and it's only visible in infrared, that's only true for brown dwarfs that are very far away from stars that could shine light on them. If a brown dwarf were in our solar system, it would reflect sunlight very much like a gas giant, and you would definitely see it. Just like we can see Jupiter in the night sky. Here's another brown dwarf. So maybe getting into a situation here where we're running into brown dwarf after brown dwarf, which would make it a little difficult to refuel and keep going.
frameshift drive charging.
Okay, good. So the next star is going to be a red dwarf, so we'll be fine with that. We'll be able to refuel. Unless there's a pirate, in which case we gotta run. Because don't have any weapons, don't have any shields.
3, 2, 1. Fuel scooping. Warning. Temperature critical. Fuel scooping complete.
Alright.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ooh, interesting. So, this system is inhabited. We're starting to get back into inhabited systems surrounding surrounding our solar system. What they call the bubble in the game. This is where most of the players are going to be. Most of the stations you can visit, planets you can visit that have stations on them. So you can land on certain airless planets in this game. Some of those will have stations as well. So if I look here, there's some bases, including Cheng Diaz, which is interesting. That's the name of an astronaut who I believe is in charge of, or one of the higher ups at Ad Astra company, working on Vasmir technology, if I recall correctly, which is a plasma-based drive system. So, fittingly, let's head over there and see if we can upgrade the drive system on this little fictional spaceship and make bigger jumps. I have no idea what facilities might be available at this station. Different stations in the game will have different facilities available. Some of them will not have the facilities necessary to upgrade your ship. Just depends. So let's see how we fare here. And yeah, the stations in the game are named in many cases for real people. Some of them are named after famous sci-fi authors like Asimov. Some of them are named after astronauts, physicists, other people of importance. I think they even named a station after Leonard Nimoy after he passed away, if I remember right.
Alpha, Lima, Lima. Follow all federal docking protocols before attempting to dock. Access approved. Proceed to landing pad 2-9er.
So, in this game, artificial gravity is, at least in principle, based on real physics, in the sense that they spin the space stations to create artificial gravity. So you have to spin your spaceship coming into the port.
Landing gear deployed.
Alright.
Landing sequence completed. Deploying ground crew.
Let's see if we can upgrade the jump drive on this ship to get where we're going faster. Ah, perfect. That's much better. So we're able to almost double our range here. thrusters while we're at it here. Gives a little more range on the jump drive. The overall mass of your spaceship affects the why not? Affects the jump range. Okay, perfect. Now we can jump 20.6 light years and go. So let's go ahead and replot our course with that in mind. And we go from 19 jumps to get there down to 9. Perfect. Oh, yeah. I just realized I'm carrying illegal cargo. I probably should be a little more careful.
Docking clamps retracted. Depart when ready, Commander.
Alright, gonna lower my thermal signature here a bit so that I can sneak out without being detected, hopefully.
Frameshift drive charging.
You have exceeded the station exclusion zone.
Alright. Managed to get out of there without being detected. So the the local police can scan you, and if you're carrying illegal cargo like I am, they will shoot you and kill you. Not really what I'm going for. Ah, and I also turned off the fuel scoop. Need to reactivate that. Just go ahead and reactivate everything.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one. Engage. Fuel scooping.
Ooh, interesting. Information says this is the last main sequence star on my route
Fuel scooping
before reaching my
complete.
destination. Not sure I'll be able to reach the destination if that's true.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, brown dwarf coming up.
Four, three, two, one.
Let's see if we'll have enough fuel to get there. Well, at least, nope. According to the map, I am going to be out of fuel by the time I get there. By 2 jumps. Frameshift
drive charging.
See, this is what happens sometimes. You get stuck hitting brown dwarf after brown dwarf, unable to get fuel.
Four, three, two, one.
Might be able to grab fuel from the station over here, though. That might get us where we want to be. My cargo is illegal here, so I'm going to go ahead and start powering down modules that I don't need necessarily. So, Space TV asks in this game, how do you start off? Do you start off at Earth? No, actually. In fact, you need a special permit just to access Earth and the solar system, our solar system. You generally start off at a fictional star system fairly close to Earth, but very close to some of the original Elite star systems. So Elite is a game that actually goes back decades. It's almost as old as I am, and it was a procedurally generated game using just simple wireframe graphics way back in the day, and they had nothing but fictional stars back then. But you would always start off, I believe, at a star system called Lave, and you start off close to that system in this game. They did include some of those original star systems from the original game from back in the 80s in this game. And that's generally where you start off. You start off with a very simple little ship, and you trade and work your way up to bigger and bigger ships. So I will visit our solar system and show you what Earth looks like in this game, and the moon and the rest of it, but won't stay there too long, because anyone who wants to intercept me may not have the pass to get to that system. So I'm going to dock at this station. Doesn't look like there's any other ships around that might be able to scan me and my illegal cargo. But just in case, I'm going to run without life support, without any other systems, in order to minimize my thermal. Oh, there comes a ship. Better rig for silent running.
Landing gear deployed.
So when you do that, it closes your radiators, and just like real spacecraft, you have to radiate away excess heat. The space station, the International Space Station, has large white radiators. Most people think of the big solar panels, the big amber-colored solar panels, when they think about the space station, but it also has very big radiators, and those are very important for radiating away excess heat. And so in this game, you can kind of stealth your ship by turning off your radiators, closing your radiators, but then your heat is internal, and you start overheating. So there is a limit to how long you can do that before your ship starts to overheat. Okay, systems are back online. So let's go ahead and get fuel. And hopefully... Alright, good. Now we can get the rest of the way to Seoul. So now instead of a dashed line, it's a solid line indicating we'll have enough fuel to reach our destination. Now the only trick is, I don't know why I bothered activating those systems, because I've got to sneak out of here just as I snuck in. So I'm going to deactivate excess systems. Go ahead and launch.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Silent running.
Come on.
Thermal signature restored.
Three,
All right. Yeah, ISS does have large radiators. I don't remember if Earth looks all that much more advanced than normal. I don't think it necessarily does, but there are some large orbital stations around Earth. Yeah, ISS has quite large radiators. In fact, one of them has been damaged for quite a while now. Fortunately, it turned out that the damage hasn't adversely affected its ability to act as a radiator significantly. But there's a tear, and it's quite noticeable. On one of the panels, one of the main radiator panels on the truss, there are these large white panels that are sort of tucked in close to the habitat sections, between the habitat sections and the solar panels. And if you look at one of those panels, one of the sections, one of the segments, is torn. Something has physically hit the radiator. Could be orbital debris or something, and it's a tear in the radiator now. It's sort of separated. The outermost white layer is separated from some of the inner layers on the panel.
view scooping,
Oh, there were other stars I could scoop from. I swear my computer lied and it said that I had reached my last main sequence star I could fuel off of. Oh well, whatever. And that that is why I started that jump a little early and cooked things a bit. Figured one of those guys was going to try to intercept me. It was another computer character. But we're now just 2 jumps away from the solar system's soul. And the next stop on the way is kind of interesting too. So, go ahead. Well, I don't need to fuel off of this star, really. Tea Garden Star. Now, this is a dwarf star. It's actually now classified as an M dwarf. That's interesting. It used to be classified as an L dwarf in-game. And if you look on Simbad, this is a real star, one of the closest stars to our sun. And if you look on, I believe, Simbad, the Simbad astronomical database, you will find this star. And last I saw, it was still listed as a brown dwarf. But if you look at the research literature, it's not really thought to be a brown dwarf anymore. It's thought to be, I thought it was an L dwarf, but maybe it's been reclassified as an M dwarf. And originally in game, I know for a fact, this is one of the first stars I visited, because I have seen this star in my telescope. I tracked it with the scope and took a picture of it. And it was originally an L dwarf in the game, and it has now been obviously reclassified as an M dwarf. It's kind of interesting. So I don't know if that's based on new research or just some sort of update in the game for whatever reason they changed it. I wouldn't necessarily trust the game to be a source of research information, but maybe there was a redesignation of it. Anyway, it's a faint red star, but it shows up quite nicely in the telescope, and it does have a significant infrared signature as well. So if you have a camera, a CCD camera sensitive to infrared light, and you photograph it with that light, it shows up quite well. So we've made it now to our solar system. So let's see, let's go ahead and head to Earth. Don't see any other player characters around right now. Oh, Space TV. Yeah, well, we'll be around this system for a while. So probably still be hanging around here when you get back. Almost looks like some sort of hurricane there. So I think if you fly around to the night side, it does simulate cities at night and that kind of thing. Let's see, I think that's Hawaii there. If I get away from the planet a little bit, I'll be able to go faster. Yeah, there we go. Looks like we're coming up over Europe. So yeah, a little brief tour there of Earth in Elite Dangerous. Let's head over to the moon. Comes the moon. I'm gonna fly past it here a little bit. So there are some interesting mysteries in the game that players can explore. I'm not exactly sure which one this is connected to. Let me see if I can scan this object. Oh, it doesn't let me scan it. That's very interesting. Huh. Well, I thought there was something it would play for you, but I think some of these comm beacons and stuff, you have to not only find them, you have to be at the right place at the right time. They only play like once on the hour or something like that. I'm not going to wait around for that to happen, but Some of them will give you hints of other star systems you can go to and find alien artifacts and even other bases that are hidden and have audio logs that tell you something about the lore of the game, that kind of thing. You can land on some of the moons around here, including Europa. That might be a fun one to go see. Attempt no landings there? Well, we're going to break the 2001 Space Odyssey rule here. I guess that was actually 2010 Space Odyssey movie / book.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Let's go visit Jupiter and Europa. Yep, that's where we're going to go now. And that right there, although it looks like a comet, is actually another ship. That is not a player ship. But that's what the other ships look like when they're traveling faster than light by you. Or close to light speed by you. What they call super cruise, or basically travel within the star system with faster than light travel. You can see there on the speedometer we're traveling at now 20 million meters per second, which is really fast, but not quite light speeds. Now, at a certain point, it transitions to 0.2 now, c, or 0.2 times the speed of light. And you can see, even at half the speed of light, it would take an hour to reach Europa from Earth. It's quite far out there. Oh, that's right, I forgot about that. Yeah, in some of the later books, they actually did land on Europa, I believe. I think that's right. And then, didn't the aliens get really pissed off about that? And well, I guess I should stop talking before I spoil it for anybody. If you haven't read it, some of the sequels to Arthur C. Clarke's 2001: A Space Odyssey are quite intriguing. The story doesn't actually end at the end of 2010. There were sequels written in the books. And I believe in the books, the original 2001 Space Odyssey was actually written about Saturn instead of Jupiter, if I remember correctly. But it was changed to reflect some of the interesting things that were being learned about Europa. So here we go, we're going to do a flyby of Jupiter. Jupiter does have a ring system. I don't know that it would actually look that prominent if you were flying by it like this, but it does have a ring system that can be seen, particularly if you're on the night side of Jupiter and leaving, and you can see sunlight scattered through the rings. But yeah, approaching it like that, I don't know that it would actually look quite that dense. But hey, this is a sci-fi future, so who knows? Maybe something blew up in Jupiter orbit and contributed to the rings. Made them denser. So there's a few cities and stations around on the surface here. Let's see. Let's orbit around Europa a bit. Yeah, nothing really. Doesn't look like there's much in the daylight on Europa right now. Let me see. If I go into system map here. Oh yeah, and I forgot. In this sci-fi future, some of the worlds have been terraformed, like Mars. Apparently has been terraformed to be more Earth-like. You should go visit that. Guess you could say SpaceX succeeded in this sci-fi future. So yeah, all the cities on Europa are on the night side. That looks like a good one. We'll go there. Another unregistered comms beacon mysteriously sitting here at Europa. Wonder if it's shaped like a giant black obelisk or something. Probably not.
Orbital flight engaged.
Yeah, we're not gonna land there.
Bulwark Peterson, Alpha Lima Lima. Federal flight control is in operation at this surface port. Observe docking reservation protocols.
Frameshift drive charging.
Just wanted to take a look. But we're not gonna land there.
3.
Too many ships flying around.
Engage.
Probably some of them security, and the goods I'm carrying are illegal. Can't forget that. So... maybe attempt no landing there was a good advice. Now we'll orbit around here to the daytime side and get over to the day-night terminator and see if we can land there. Somewhere where there is no prying eyes of security watching us. Yeah, looks pretty good over there. Very jagged, tall peaks around here. Ooh, somebody just warped in. Looks like a tourist ship. Don't think it's anything to be worried about. It's Orca class. This looks like a good landing spot.
Landing gear deployed.
And touchdown on Europa.
Drive assist.
That's a great question. So, Space TV asks, is Europa tidally locked to Jupiter? And I believe the answer is yes. Hi, HMech confirms yes, indeed. And I believe if we look in the surface map, so if we go here, let's see, where's my cursor? Yeah, it's wigging out on me in terms of the trying to select an object. Here we go. Rotational period, 3.6 days. I'm reading that right. Tidally locked, indeed. So yeah, it is a tidally locked moon. Most moons in the solar system are indeed tidally locked to their parent planets. And if I remember right, this is definitely one of them. Elite Dangerous seems to confirm that. So yeah, you can get out and drive around your little rover and see the sights. And sometimes you'll come across things like cryovolcanoes and stuff, ice volcanoes, essentially. Now, I don't think we'll necessarily find that on Europa, but you will find that on other moons. I think we might find that on Enceladus. Might be interesting to go visit that next. So you can find certain mineral deposits and collect them. Alright. Let's go back in the ship. Oh. Well, I spoke too soon. There is a Europa ice geyser around here. Let's see if we can get to it.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Oh, it's way on the night side of the planet. Alright, well, we won't fool with that one. Let's go out to Saturn and Enceladus. This is a moon of Saturn that has been observed to have ice geysers. And it seems to have a subsurface ocean, much like Europa. Cassini flew through that geyser. I believe it was near the poles, I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely an interesting possibility for future exploration to try to find alien life in our solar system. Could be life hidden underneath the surface in a subsurface ocean. Alright, sorry about that. Just looking something up. There's a little Easter egg that is really quite cool in the solar system in-game. So we'll do that after we stop by Saturn and Enceladus here in a minute.
Orbital flight engaged.
Got a certain haunting beauty to it. But it doesn't list any geysers. Doesn't mean they're not here, it just means they're not listed. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to find them because there is something else very interesting to find in the solar system. Alright. Well, that's enough sightseeing from here. So, let me grab something here for a sec. Oh, wait, what's this? Interesting. There's a point of interest. We're right over it. Practically right over it. Oh, another ship. And he looks bad. Alright, we're going away. Let's get out of here.
Charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Alright, 1 second here. Okay, first step, we gotta fly back towards the sun. Alright. Oh, I didn't fly through Saturn's rings. I guess I could have. But we're gonna go visit another point of interest here on Elite Dangerous. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So we basically have to do a treasure hunt because we're going to try to track down Voyager 1. They actually put Voyager 1 and 2 into the game. But you kind of have to follow some stars. Almost like star hopping with a telescope to locate it. So to start this treasure hunt, we must first go to the sun and start there. Okay, that ought to be good enough. Let's go on the galaxy map and select. So we need to search for coal. Yeah. 285 sector T0-Q. D5-69. So we don't literally have to fly there. We do have to select it. In fact, I'm going to bookmark it in case we lose track of it. So now we fly off in this direction. So... at this point, we now aim at this star right here. And apparently we have to travel 2 million light seconds. Fortunately, we're now traveling 160 times the speed of light and climbing. But still, that is one heck of a journey. So keep an eye on the sun to see how far we're getting. Just to conserve fuel, I'm going to go ahead and shut down some unneeded systems. For whatever good that will do. And I will BRB. Alright, I'm back. What are we up to? 10% of the way there. So Voyager is, I guess you would say, decelerating. It's well above solar escape velocity, but the sun's gravity still tries to tug it back. But it is well above the escape velocity, so basically, if there were no other gravitational solar systems, any other gravitational sources anywhere in the universe, it would continue to leave away from the sun to infinity. It would always have more velocity than the sun could detract from it, with its gravity growing weaker and weaker. But I want to say its current distance is something like 110 AU or something like that. It's over 100 AU, I believe. Let's see, what is the current distance? That's a great little thing to try to find out. Let's see it here. So heavens-above.com is a great site for finding out some of this information. Oh yeah, it's well above 100. It's 140, currently 140 astronomical units from the sun. So that's 140 times the distance of Earth from the sun. That's how far away Voyager 1 currently is. And let's see, let's convert that into light seconds. So Google reports that that is just shy of 70,000 light seconds. But this game takes place near 3303. So that's 1,300 years from now, roughly. What's the current velocity? Speed relative to the sun. In AU per year, Voyager 1 is at 3.583. So let's round down to 3.5. Let's see here. .5. So if we neglect to account for deceleration from the sun's gravity, times 1,000, let's call it 280, or let's just call it 1,300 years even. Trying to type on this virtual keyboard is not entirely easy. Okay. So that's 4,550. plus the current distance of 140, so 4,690 AU. To light seconds is 2,340,332, which just so happens to be very close to the 2,310,000 light seconds that Voyager 1 is from Earth, according to Elite Dangerous in the year 3303. So we are at 700,000 light seconds and climbing. Fortunately, our speed is still climbing too, at over 1,300 times the speed of light. And so, just for fun, let's see, what is that in light years? In 1,000, almost 1,300 years. How far away will Voyager be? It'll only be 0.07 light years away. And that is the farthest man-made object out there currently. Now, I want to say that New Horizons will potentially overtake that at some point, but no, it won't. No. New Horizons' velocity is already underneath Voyager 1. New Horizons traveling slower than Voyager 1 by over 2 kilometers per second at the moment. So yeah, Voyager 1's still the furthest object and still extremely fast. So in over 1,000 years, it'll still only be 0.07 light years away, which is not that much. Just gives you an idea of how vast space is, how far even the nearest stars to our sun are. And Duplicate in the chat says that JPL mission status page has all the current data as well. And yeah, they also show Voyager 1 at 140 AU, Voyager 2 at only 116 AU. So, yeah, basically, because Voyager is well above solar escape velocity, it will never return to our solar system. Unless some aliens find it and send it back here. Because its velocity is above solar escape velocity. So when that happens, that means that no matter how long the sun's gravity pulls on it, it will never bring it to a stop, let alone cause it to reverse and head back the other way. Its velocity will always be positive, or heading away from the sun, devoid of other factors. And we're now 1,000,000 light seconds away from the sun, halfway there to Voyager's location. I'd be interested to know. Let me see if I can find out from heavens above what constellation Voyager is currently in. Oh, they do give the right ascension and declination. So, right ascension 17 hours, 13 minutes. Declination 11 degrees, 59 minutes. So let me pull up those coordinates again. 17 hours, 13 minutes. Minutes. And then, what was it? 11:59. 59. Just want to see if I can get a image of that general area to see if it matches up with what Elite Dangerous is rendering. Of course, being set 1,000 years in the future, who knows what that means for proper motion of the stars and that kind of thing, but doesn't really seem like it wants to load that all that easily. Let me try different all sky. Let's try Mellinger. Mellinger. A little hard to say. Yeah, maybe. Kinda is. Yeah, I could kind of see how that's represented there in Elite Dangerous. Anyway. Alright. Starting to get close now. Coming up on 2 million light seconds from the sun. So the magic number we're looking for is 2,310,000, and really it looks like 2,317,000 is when you run straight into it. Hopefully we have some success here. Yes, the dwarf planets are in the game. You can see Make Make is sitting back there, and even that is a long way from where we're currently located. But we want to watch the nav panel here to see if our point of interest shows up. Discovered a new signal source. Well, that's all interesting and everything, but not what we're after. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Oh, I'm right by the target distance. Don't see it on here. Let's turn around and fly back towards the sun for a second. Basically right back the way we came. No. I don't see it. Okay, let me check one more thing. 5. So, Pluto and Charon should be at 2,305,000, which they are. 317,434. I mean, we are basically right where the screenshot shows it. And as long as we're within 1,000 light seconds, it should pop up. Pluto, Charon. Saturn should be 2,313,000 or thereabouts, yeah? Alright, let me check one more thing here. Let's see. Sedna. You can see how elliptical the orbit of Sedna is. Is it listed on there? No, no such luck. I can tell these screenshots are quite old because they don't list the dwarf planets at all. Okay, well. If I don't find it in a minute here, we'll just move on, but man, that's disappointing. I'd hoped to get some Voyager 1 action. Oh, what was that? Identified signal source. No, it should come up as ancient probe. No such luck. Try flying back towards the sun. Yeah, this is a lost hope. Oh, what's this? I almost wonder if that signal source was it. Maybe I should have checked. I don't know. I doubt it. Alright. Well, no luck there. That's a bummer. Well, let's see. Let's go to Barnard Star. So this is the fastest moving star in the night sky in terms of proper motion.
Frameshift drive charging.
Whoop. Yeah, whatever.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, maybe the Klingons got there first. Just like Star Trek, what was it, Star Trek 5, the Klingons blow up Voyager? One of the Voyager probes? Yeah, maybe they took it out in an update or something. That'd be disappointing if so, but... Could just be that I didn't quite travel in the right direction. Even the slight misalignment might throw it off. Oh, great. Another NPC pirate wants my stuff. Well,
Frameshift drive charging.
maybe Alpha Centauri? I just don't feel like being attacked by NPC pirates. Altair, that's another bright star. Relatively close by.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I love the faction and control of the system. Elite Rebel Force. Sounds very menacing. Let's see. You know what? Actually, yeah, let's just look at the system map. Jones Vision, that sounds interesting. And actually what I should do, keep from being attacked by potential police forces in these systems since I'm carrying illegal cargo. Let's filter by government and look for anarchy. Or alternatively, we just go to a system with no government, but okay. Not really too much to choose from here. LHS 205, G Carinae. Just trying to see if there's anything. Well, this is pretty close by. LFT 1492. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that one. It's only 2 jumps away.
Frameshift drive charging.
Oh, looks like we had another donation. So again, this is all for charity tonight for the Starlight Foundation, helping kids in the hospital. So you can find the link to donate in the video description. Any assistance is appreciated very much.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one.
Doesn't look like it's a scoopable star. But there is a station that we can use to refuel. The rushed gateway, I guess. Way out there, 29,000 light seconds. I don't know though. I was kind of hoping for planets I could land on. Doesn't look like there's any of those around here. See if there's anything over this way.
Frameshift drive charging.
Ah, that was the problem. I didn't have my fuel scoop turned on. That would help. Oh man, thought I was gonna be stuck in hyperspace there for a bit.
Fuel scooping. Hull integrity compromised. Warning. Taking heat damage.
Oh, great.
Taking heat damage.
Well, that's what you get for flying too close. I noticed I couldn't see the cutoff line. Normally you can see a line that shows you where not to fly. It was there initially and then disappeared. Maybe I got too close. Whoa. Somebody just dropped out of warp very close to me. Oh, great. He wants my cargo.
Under attack. Hull integrity compromised.
Oh man, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Oh man.
Critical.
And I'm dead. And I'm blown up. Well, that did not go well. Oh dear. So I can either go all the way back to halfway to the bubble, or I can get a free sidewinder and dock much closer. Well, shoot. Not really liking either of these options, but given the choice, I think I'll go with the free sidewinder. Can I go to one of my stored ships? No, I can sell a stored ship, not what I want to do. These are not great options. I'll just go with the free sidewinder. Said confirm. Confirm? Okay, clicking it doesn't do any good either. Well, seems like I'm stuck. That's not great. Yeah, that was an NPC, I believe. That was my fault. I shouldn't have flown that close. Even so, it's unusual that... In fact, that's the first time that's happened to me. That an NPC has dropped out right when I got too close to a star and then attacked and blew me up. I tried to drop some cargo to distract him, but it just didn't do any good. If anything, it made my situation worse. Oh, is it finally kicking in? Seems like it might be finally kicking in. Or it's stuck in some sort of perpetual loading thing. I think I might have broken the game. Amazing. Oh, wait. Is it going to do something? Oh, it did something. Cool. So, it stuck me in the most basic ship possible. Unfortunately, I think my cargo is going to be gone. Yeah, it's gone. The NPC took it. Oh well. So much for that. Well, I guess I can fly around and look for a player to blow me up. Not that I can drop anything of value for them now, unfortunately. Can we get to Lave? So this is one of the starter systems for a lot of players. No, Lave is quite far away. I thought it was much closer. Well, let's just see what we find out here. Oh, 2 players. Who are also in starter ships.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
So just out of curiosity, how far am I from Earth? At this point. The answer is impossibly far. Apparently I'm not even able to jump to the first spot. Yeah, I can't even jump. Oh, there's somebody in an adder. So yeah, this is a lot busier of a system in terms of other players being around. Happy holidays, Drew. Thanks for coming.
Alpha Lima Lima. This is Federal Flight Control. You are required to submit a docking request before landing. Authorization cleared. Proceed to landing pad 36. Maintain current course, Commander.
It's actually another player ship right there. A lot of adders around in here. That was the ship we were in until we thought it was blown up just now.
100 meters from touchdown. Contact. Deploying ground crew.
Oh, let's see. What's available for purchase? Eel, Adder, Cobra, Vulture, Federal Dropship. Yeah, not great options. Alright, well, I think that's going to just about do it for this live stream. Unfortunately, the cargo was ultimately taken by the NPC, it seems. So, with that, I want to thank everyone for coming and watching, and want to especially thank those who were able to contribute to the charity and make kids' Christmas seasons a little bit brighter, especially for those in the hospital. So thanks again for all the contributions to the Starlight Children's Foundation, and please continue to give if you can. The link is in the video description. Thanks for watching. Astronomy Live, signing off.